Deep inside a nuclear submarine, hundreds of feet below the ocean surface, there is a kitchen barely bigger than a walk-in closet. Every single day, the cooks inside this cramped space prepare over 1,000 meals for a crew of 150 sailors. But here's what makes this different from any restaurant on Earth. There are no delivery trucks for supply runs. Once the submarine dives, it becomes a sealed world.
Submersion ship, dive I.
Dive. Dive.
The mission lasts 90 days, sometimes longer. So how do you feed 150 people for 3 months straight when you are locked underwater with no way to get more food? A nuclear submarine operates as a closed system the moment it submerges. That means no external resupply of food, no restocking, no emergency grocery runs. Everything the crew will eat for 3 months must fit inside a vessel already packed with weapons, machinery, and people.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
You all are about to go on some missions that I can't tell you about here on the mess decks. You're in a very dangerous part of the world right now.
The crew ranges from 120 to 150 sailors, depending on the class of submarine. Every one of them needs to eat multiple times a day. That adds up to over 50,000 meals across a full 90-day deployment. Storage space is not just limited, it is a battleground. Food is packed into every gap, under sleeping bunks, inside equipment compartments, along narrow passageways, even in the torpedo room. For the first few weeks, sailors sleep next to stacks of canned beans and crates of frozen chicken. Some step over boxes of rice just to reach their bunks after a 12-hour shift. The cook cannot change the menu halfway through. The supply is locked in. Once the submarine dives, the countdown begins. Every meal served is one meal closer to running out. But getting all that food on board in the first place, that is where the real pressure starts. Weeks before departure, supply officers and culinary specialists calculate exact quantities down to the last can. Crew size, mission length, calorie requirements for sailors doing brutal physical work. Every meal from day 1 to day 90 is planned. The target is 110 days of food, a buffer in case the mission extends. Loading day becomes a full crew operation. Between 15,000 and 40,000 pounds of food must pass through a hatch only 2.5 feet wide. Every box is handed down in a human chain from the dock into the submarine's belly. 18,000 pounds of frozen meat, 20,000 pounds of canned goods, all passed by hand, one item at a time, for hours. But the loading order is not random. Fresh food goes in last because it spoils first. Leafy greens, soft fruits, fresh milk, all must be consumed within 2 weeks. Frozen food is packed floor to ceiling. Meat, seafood, frozen vegetables take over once fresh supplies vanish. Canned and dry goods are saved for the final weeks, when nothing fresh remains. This is a strategy that determines whether sailors eat well on day 80 or go hungry. As the mission progresses, storage areas clear. Passageways lined with cans in week 1 become walkable by week 3. But once those supplies start flowing through the galley, the cook faces a challenge that would break most people. If this kind of planning and teamwork impresses you, write respect in the comments. The challenge is this: cooking for 150 people in a space where you can barely turn around 24 hours a day for 3 months straight. There is no normal workday on a submarine. The crew operates on rotating shifts. Some sailors sleep, while others monitor sonar or sweat in the reactor room. The cook matches that relentless, punishing rhythm. Meals are served continuously in overlapping waves that never stop. The galley runs on a loop. One cook serves the current meal, another prepares for the next round. The space is 140 square feet. Inside are electric ovens, griddles, deep fryers, steam kettles, sinks, and storage crammed into every corner. 6 to 8 culinary specialists work rotating shifts to keep it running without pause. They prepare 4 meals daily: breakfast before dawn, a time that does not really exist underwater, lunch, dinner, and midnight rations called midrats served to hollow-eyed sailors on overnight shifts. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, pork chops, ribs, sometimes steak. For many working in complete darkness, it is the only thing that feels normal. The 1,000 meals figure is math. A single batch serves 30 to 40 people. But when that batch is prepared multiple times across shifts, the numbers explode. Over 24 hours, the galley produces 600 to 800 servings. Across 90 days, that exceeds 50,000 meals. Everything must be ready exactly on time. If a shift change happens at 1800 hours, food is plated at 1800. Delays disrupt operations. But while the cook fights to maintain that brutal pace, something else is happening that nobody talks about. Week 1 features fresh salads, fresh milk, soft vegetables, ripe fruit. Meals feel almost normal. By week 2, fresh milk is gone. Leafy greens have wilted. Bananas have turned brown. The cook shifts to apples, potatoes, carrots, onions. Eggs can last for weeks if unwashed because the shell coating blocks bacteria. But by the end of the first month, nearly all fresh produce is depleted. From that point on, the cook relies on frozen, canned, and dehydrated ingredients. Despite all that, portion sizes stay consistent. A sailor working 12 hours in the reactor needs the same fuel on day 70 as on day 7. The cook adjusts menus based on availability, but serving sizes cannot change. This demands creativity. Frozen chicken gets grilled one night, transformed into stir-fry the next, then shredded for tacos later. Sauces and seasonings make basic ingredients feel different. Because when the crew tastes the same protein for the third time in a week, how do you keep them from feeling stuck in a loop as repetitive as the submarine itself? Food waste is not an option. Leftovers get repurposed. Extra vegetables go into soup. Unused bread becomes croutons. If the mission extends, the cook stretches supplies even further, but the crew still gets fed. Every ingredient is tracked. Every decision is weighted. Feeding the crew is not just about calories and nutrition. It is about something far harder to measure, something that can make or break a mission. The cook is responsible for feeding the entire crew every single day, without fail. In an environment with no sunlight, no fresh air, and no natural sense of time, meals become the only anchors. They mark each day. They provide structure where everything feels controlled and isolating. A well-prepared meal lifts exhausted sailors. A poor one drags morale into dangerous territory. Submarines receive 50 cents more per meal, per sailor, than surface ships. This is not luxury. This is an investment in keeping the crew functional. Menus rotate on a 3-week cycle. Theme nights give sailors something to anticipate. Pizza on Saturdays. Steak on Sundays. Italian night with lasagna and garlic bread that fills the ventilation system with the smell of home. Holidays get traditional meals planned months in advance. Thanksgiving turkey, Christmas ham. These are not just meals. They are emotional lifelines. The workload is relentless. Culinary specialists work 10 to 12 hours daily in cramped, humid spaces, prepping ingredients, cooking massive batches, cleaning equipment, resetting for the next wave. 6 to 8 people maneuver around each other in 140 square feet. Heat from the ovens makes it feel like a furnace. The pressure never stops. Every meal on time, every serving consistent. When you are responsible for the morale of 150 sailors trapped underwater with nothing but the food you serve to remind them of normal life, that pressure does not just weigh on you. It becomes the rhythm of your entire existence. The job demands precision, endurance, and mental toughness. Without the cook holding that line, everything collapses. A submarine operates because every system functions without interruption. The reactor provides power. The crew runs the machinery. The cook manages food with precision. All three depend on one another. The cook's role is routine and rarely celebrated, but essential. It is the work that keeps 150 sailors fed, focused, and functional for 90 days straight, hundreds of feet below the surface, with no backup and no second chances.